I am your brother in Christ, and we are back with the coronavirus once again. No, I do not have it, but that's how we start this video off. Let's take a look at the lockdown. We are still seeing the exact same. It's the same, it hasn't changed. That's about all she wrote. So let's go to the numbers. It was a fast one, that was easy. In the United States, we are seeing 667,549 active cases. Deaths are at 42,099. In Alabama, we see 4,867 active cases. Deaths are at 168. In Alaska, we are green. That means we are less than we were last video as far as the number of active cases. We are at 151 active cases, and deaths are at 9. In Arizona, we're seeing 4,807 active cases. Deaths are at 187. In Arkansas, we see 1,133 active cases. Deaths are at 41. In California, we see 30,851 active cases. Deaths are at 1,203. In Colorado, we see 8,810 active cases. Deaths are at 422. In Connecticut, we see 18,419 active cases. Deaths are at 1,331. In Delaware, we see 2,178 active cases. Deaths are at 72. In Washington, D.C., we see 2,192 active cases. Deaths are at 105. In Florida, we see 25,549 active cases. Deaths are at 823. In Georgia, we see 18,183 active cases. Deaths are at 733. In Hawaii, we see they are green, and yes, their active cases are reducing. It is now at 151 active cases. Deaths are only at 10. In Idaho, they are also reducing their number of active cases, which is fantastic. They are at 1,042 active cases, and their deaths are at 45. In Illinois, we see 29,553 active cases. Deaths are at 1,349. In Indiana, we see 11,103 active cases. Deaths are at 569. In Iowa, we see 1,845 active cases. Deaths are at 79. In Kansas, we see 1,317 active cases. Deaths are at 92. In Kentucky, they are again reducing their numbers, and in the green, they are now only at 1,774 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 154. In Louisiana, we see 23,145 active cases. Deaths are at 1,328. In Maine, they are, again, reducing their numbers. This is great. I'm so excited to give you guys these numbers, finally. We are seeing 426 active cases there. Deaths are at 35. In Maryland, we see 12,185 active cases. Deaths are at 582. In Massachusetts, we see 28,253 active cases. Deaths are at 1,706. In Michigan, we see 26,295 active cases. Deaths are at 2,468. In Minnesota, we see 1,167 active cases. Deaths are now at 143. In Mississippi, we see 4,343 active cases. Deaths are at 169. In Missouri, we see 5,425 active cases. Deaths are now at 198. In Montana, we see green once again, which is fantastic. They're only at 180 active cases. Deaths are at 10. In Nebraska, we see 1,424 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 28. In Nevada, we see 2,503 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 158. In New Hampshire, they are seeing only 830 active cases, and their deaths are at 41. In New Jersey, we see 83,158 active cases. Deaths are now at 4,377. In New Mexico, we see 1,303 active cases, and deaths are at 55. In New York, we see 209,278 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 18,929. In North Carolina, we see 5,758 active cases. Deaths are at 199. In North Dakota, we see 425 active cases, and deaths are at 13. In Ohio, we see 12,290 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 509. In Oklahoma, we see 1,003 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 143. In Oregon, we see 1,881 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 75. In Pennsylvania, we see 31,916 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 1,348. And hopefully one of those active cases is not my wife's grandmother. In Rhode Island, we see 4,925 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 155. In South Carolina, they are really ridiculously green, with only 1,577 active cases, which is greatly reduced from their last video. Their deaths are at 124. In South Dakota, we see 982 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 7. In Tennessee, we see 3,852 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 152. In Texas, we see 14,153 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 499. In Utah, we see 2,506 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 28. In Vermont, we see 778 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 38. In Virginia, we see 7,366 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 300. In Washington, we see 9,378 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 634. In West Virginia, we see 653 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 24. In Wisconsin, we see 4,075 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 230. In Wyoming, we're seeing 191 active cases. Deaths have climbed to 2. So those are the numbers around the United States. As you can see, I've got our states in green there, the ones that are reducing their active cases, which is fantastic. We will hopefully be seeing more states enter into the green and eventually see it reduced to a point where it's negligible or at least manageable. So at this point, it does look like in a week, maybe 2 weeks, we can start looking at hopefully being able to reopen sections of the United States. Definitely if this green trend continues to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Check us out on Minds, Gab, YouTube, and of course, BitChute. As always, you can support us on Patreon and support us also by sharing this video so other people can know what the actual numbers are, not some inflated, made-up crap. So thank you guys again, and as always, God be with us.